is. Good morning, everyone. We'd like to thank you all for joining us this morning for our next community conversations with the Partnership for Children of Guilford County. I have become your host, Lamisha Staten. I'm the Community Outreach Manager for the partnership, and I'm just so grateful to be able to have the opportunity to share with you this morning such a wonderful program with a wonderful young lady that's doing some awesome work here in Guilford County on behalf of our children and families. And so we're just so grateful to have all of you join us today as you have over the past several months. And you know, our goal is to make sure that we are staying right here with you as we all move throughout COVID-19. And find resources for our families to make sure that you have the resources that you need and that your children have the resources that they need to stay successful and be connected to agencies that are willing to help as we all move through this together. Today's topic is caring for our children and their mental health. We do not want to forget about the importance of our mental health and caring for that for our families. Because so many times as we move throughout trying to just make it day to day, we have to make sure we have that self-care in place as well, not just for us as adults, but for our children. We constantly talk about the importance of play and the importance of them having some opportunity to run their energy down and make sure they're able to express their feelings and how they're feeling, which is so important. And we're just so glad to have Miss Amanda Serrano as she is presenting to us from Sunrise-Amanecer here in Greensboro, North Carolina, Mental Health Services. And so we're just so glad to have her. She's going to talk to us and give us some strategies and ways to talk with our children and some ways that we can make sure their mental health is taken care of as we move throughout this pandemic. I do want to just make a short announcement on behalf of the Partnership for Children, just as a reminder for any High Point families that we will have our NC Pre-K drive-through event this upcoming Saturday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. At Kindernoggin Child Development Center there in High Point. So Kindernoggin there in High Point will be there from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. If you need to complete an NC Pre-K application, if you know someone that is needing to complete an application or submit any missing documents, you can come to that event. We'll be out there from 12 to 3, again at Kindernoggin there in High Point, and we'll be so glad to see you. And we also have some free giveaways for you and your family as well. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda to talk to us about caring for our children and their mental health. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be talking about this topic. It's near and dear to my heart. So caring for children and their mental health. Hello, everyone who is watching. Hola, saludos a todos. It is so important to care for the mental health of our kids, to give them the knowledge, to give them these resources. Oftentimes, we as adults were not taught some of this emotional intelligence when we were younger, so that it makes it harder to transfer over some of this knowledge at this young age, where it could be so crucial to some of that development. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Zoom fatigue, because we've got our little ones sitting in class all day along with our older children who are sitting in class all day. And that's a lot of sitting for someone who is 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, and being in front of screens that we traditionally as parents try to say, like, no, let's set some limits on this. Now that's the way we're learning and getting all of our information. We're also going to talk a little bit about why mental health matters and how it is connected. Mental health is so important because it can affect our physical health. If we are not taking care of how we are doing kind of emotionally, that lowers our immunities and it lowers our resistances to getting some illnesses, if it's the common cold or if it's the flu. And then also let's talk about this pandemic stress. Getting the cold or having someone sneeze in front of you is a different experience now than what it was even a year, even 5, 6 months ago. And then we're going to talk a little bit about cabin fever, because it's a lot of time at home, a lot of time indoors. A lot of times our families don't have access to parks or big backyards or areas that they can go run out and run off all of that energy. So being stuck in the house, or being stuck with parents who are also stuck in the house, having to kind of engage in telework, if that is something that's possible for you, it makes it so that there's a lot of time together, but not necessarily time that is quality time together, all in the same kind of space. So let's just talk about how resilient and how amazing our kids are, just straight off the bat. Our children don't realize that this is a pandemic. They realize that, like, mom and dad are home and I have to wear a mask everywhere, but that kind of makes me look like a ninja, or that kind of makes me special because I get to wear this like fun mask that might have Paw Patrol on it, might have unicorns, might have rainbows. And I get to just go and kind of hang out with mom and dad. And it can also help kind of focusing in on that light that they have if they are processing in that way, those positive things. And the way that these kids develop this resiliency, develop these other ways of viewing things, is by the resiliency of the parents, of the support figures. If we are freaking out about this pandemic and we're like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? We can't go outside, we can't do this, we can't do that. Kids are going to be getting that and being like, okay, well, I should be sad, I should be angry, or I don't know what to do. I can't tell mom and dad about this. I can't tell my auntie about this, or I can't do this. Because the kids are usually a really good barometer about like how the family's doing as a whole. The youngest kid, because they're not clouded with so much stuff in their brain, they can sense and pick up on some of the moods and some of the energy in the house. So our children will know, like, I don't know the specifics of what's going on, but someone's sad, or someone's angry, or there's something off, and I don't feel good. But they don't know that that's the language that's behind all of that. So being able to really keep ourselves in check, be like, all right, what is it that I'm adding to the situation, is sometimes really helpful.
And I just wanted to mention that is such good information you just shared, because a lot of the resiliency from our children has come from our parents, our families, that as a parent, I can imagine it has been tough to try to keep things as normal as possible during this. But as you said, the children may not realize and see it as we're in a pandemic, and understanding what that is, and that we've never seen something like this before, and and so we just want to commend. A lot of times when we post to Facebook or we do different things, we try to say to our parents, you're doing a great job, because a lot of the resiliency from our children does come from our parents. And as you also mentioned, the children sense what is happening. A lot of times if we're stressed, they can sense that, they can pull on that. And I just wanted to take a minute just to say, as you said, we commend our families for just hanging in there and doing the best that you can to help our children during this time. Excellent points.
So this is the biggest part about it that can be a little stressful. Kids can't ask for help if they don't have the words. So with all of the knowledge that we have out there, and I think that as a community, we're doing a better job of kind of adding some of this emotional intelligence conversation into the conversation, but really remembering that kids have big emotions, and big emotions are usually followed by really big reactions. But if we don't have the words for those things, we are just kind of allowing our kids to just like continue to be unable to identify it. Because once we can identify what that feeling is, then we can work on it. Then we can have an action plan. If that feeling is being scared, and that's why we're kicking and screaming, not wanting to go to bed, we can put together some monster spray and spray it around the room to create that safety so that, okay, now I can go to bed. We can come up with a plan. One of my favorite stories, and this is a personal thing, is that I remember my daughter was having, like, she was just big emotions. And I went into her room and was like, it's time for bed. That's it. I was like, I get that you are angry right now. I get that that's your feeling. I hear you, but you can't be banging on the walls. That's not going to fly. And I will give you a hug and I'll like keep you in this anger, and that's okay. But it's bedtime and we're going to talk about it tomorrow.
Right.
And it was one of those beautiful moments as a parent where I was just like, okay, did I say the right thing? But she looked at me and she's like, I'm angry. I was like, yeah, you're angry. Go to bed.
Right.
And she's just like, but I can't. I was like, okay, let's do some breathing. We're going to breathe.
Right.
Take a deep breath in and out.
Yeah.
And pretend we are elephants and take a deep breath in and out like an elephant.
Yeah.
Now let's go to bed.
Right.
That following morning, she was like, Mommy, I was really angry yesterday.
Wow.
And it ended up being a really beautiful teaching moment.
Yeah. 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 You're such an awesome mom. That is
That's me putting my degrees to work at home. That's how that is.
I'm going to try to remember that next time I'm having those feelings. Okay, I'm going to pretend I'm an elephant. I'm going to breathe in and out. And that was so wonderful how you were able to do that with your own daughter. And she did not forget that. The next morning, she didn't forget it.
She does not forget any of those things. So, like, I know that when we play, because when children play, they play through the things that they're learning.
Right.
So in her play, her sister was being like a baby that wouldn't stop crying, and she was teaching that baby breathing techniques.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Like one of those moments where it's like, I get a gold star.
Like, it's working.
It's working. But you can, as long as you make it fun, as long as you make some of those like stress management techniques fun, because the science behind that is my child lowered her heart rate by being able to breathe that way, which stopped her body from going into fight, flight, or freeze. And she was able to think clearly and calm down her heart so that she can go to bed. Because living in that anger, she wasn't going to go to sleep ever.
Right. That's right. Wow. The science behind it.
The science behind it. And it doesn't have to be given with big clinical words.
Right.
Just be funny, be goofy, use kid language. Don't baby talk them, but you can use kid language. You can create some sort of, I know that when I use monster spray, and I encourage a lot of my families to make this, put some like lavender oil and water in a little spray bottle and spray it around the room so that the monsters can't get in. So that there is a soothing smell. So it's like, okay, if there is that bedtime anxiety, you are able to feel okay because you have your monster spray. And I just need to make sure that you check everywhere and put the monster spray down. Right. And I'm all right. I can go to bed.
I can go to bed. That is such a wonderful strategy you shared. And we hear a lot of parents, you know, like we talk about when parents bring the baby home for the first time, and you say there's no manual to parenting. There's no, you know, and a lot of it is just already in you, you know, and as you said, you don't have to know the big clinical words. It's like what came to you in that moment. Okay, let's just breathe. Let's just calm down. We're going to be okay, you know, and it helps you as a parent as well, right? To be able to, you know, have that calming moment with your child, and that's a bonding time as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you help a kid through these big emotions, they develop more of that trusting bond with you. They feel more connected. Right. And a lot of times, especially with that like bedtime anxiety, which I hear the most of most children, it is like all of the things start coming back into their brain, or it's the first time that they're not actively distracting themselves.
Yeah.
because children do a really good job of like, okay, I don't want to think about this bad thing.
Yeah.
And let's say they don't understand what a pandemic is. Say they're a 5-year-old and they just know that people can't get sick and don't get sick, but grandma's sick.
Right.
And mom is really worried and mom's on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
And I can't go see grandma, but grandma's sick.
Yeah.
That child is like, okay, grandma's sick, but Paw Patrol is on and I'm going to watch Paw Patrol.
Right.
Grandma's sick and Paw Patrol's on and it's not working, so I'm going to play with my Barbies. I'm going to play with this other toy. I'm going to run and jump and play and scream and hang out and do all of the things.
Right.
To run away from that feeling that in that thing that I just don't want to remember about right now.
Right. Right.
Until it comes time for bed.
Oh.
And I don't have my toys because if we're doing good sleep hygiene, there are no toys in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any lights. I don't have any screens. I don't have anything to distract me from this feeling that's happening.
Right.
And mind you, I don't know what grandma's sick with, but I know grandma's sick.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't have anything to distract me. So it might look like that separation anxiety of like, oh, but I really want water, but I really want another story. Yeah. But I really want this other thing. Well, don't let me alone.
Right. That is, I love how you broke that down because you hear that a lot about the nighttime is when that fear, because it's almost like I can imagine just as a child, you know, they're smart. Our children are very intelligent. So they're laying there and you're thinking back to all of those scary things that happened during the day and things they didn't get a chance to do. And in that moment, just laying there, it's like, you know, mom's not in there or dad's not there or sister isn't there or my brother, you know, you're like, oh my God, you know, I need some more water. Because they're trying to find something. They're trying to find something in it. I love how you broke that down for us though. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where we don't think about it because we are so much in parent mode sometimes where it's like, it's bedtime. You don't get another 20 minutes.
Right.
No. And I can tell you because I'm a parent as well as a therapist. Absolutely. I'm like, the behavioral plan is that 9:30, it's lights out. That's it.
That's right.
But it's one of those things where there's that human aspect to it where like when we get so stuck into that mommying or that daddying role, we forget that like, oh yeah, we're struggling with these big emotions and these big feelings because if the parents, let's say they're teleworking and it's like my child needs to be in bed by 9:30 so that I can get back online and finish everything that I didn't do because I took time off for lunchtime and Zoom calls and school.
Right.
So now I have to work until midnight when everyone's asleep.
Yeah.
And let's like really honor that because that's really, really hard.
Very hard. And many of our parents are in that place right this minute and making those hard decisions. And, you know, we just, as you said, let's honor that. Let's honor that in our parents that are, and even you as a mom, you know, where you have that professional, but then you're still trying to, you know, you still have your family. And that is a key part. And we just want to say, you know, we recognize you parents and we see what you're doing and we know there are some hard decisions you're having to make and staying up late because you're trying to balance remote learning and you're trying to balance, you know, your job and you're trying to honor commitments and things like that. This has been a tough time for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a myth and something that I just want to bring up really quickly for our parents is there's a myth that when you are teleworking at home, you're not really working and you have all this time to get the laundry done, to have like wholesome, nutritious, colorful meals, to be able to do all of the things that you would do as like a stay-at-home parent in this time, where it is completely not the case.
That's right.
Like your house is allowed to fall to shambles the same way it did prior to the pandemic.
Absolutely. That is so true. And a lot of times I can imagine as a parent, you're trying to meet that or say, you know, well, yeah, let me try to keep the house in order and I should be able to keep the house in order because I am home. I'm so glad that you said that, Amanda, that no, it's okay. You know, this is still life. And, you know,
so many people that
yeah,
I've worked with, that I know, that I'm friends with, who
yeah,
are actively on a Zoom call folding laundry, thinking that they're like, oh no, I'm not doing enough.
right. Wow.
And we can say that it's something with kind of the culture that we're in, the fact that we see like these Instagram and Pinterest like parents who are able to do all these beautiful, wonderful, amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
But then we forget that that's their job and that's why they're able to do it that way.
Exactly. And you know, for so many, you know, you don't have time to blog and to do those things. So, you know, this is still life. And, you know, we honor our parents and the wonderful job that you're doing, because, you know, I know that this is just a hard time for our children and for our parents. So we definitely recognize that. You brought up some wonderful points.
Also, before we leave this page,
Yeah.
we talked about the big emotions that kids let us see. But then there are also kids who just completely disengage and they look like they're not paying attention. They look like they don't care. They look like they're just like, whatever, I'm just doing my thing. And it's because they don't want to feel like a burden sometimes. Like, mom is stressed out. I see her over there and she's freaking out and I can sense it.
Yeah.
Like, my feelings aren't that important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go over here. Or if I let myself say something, I'm going to get mad and I'm probably going to get in trouble.
Right.
So being able to really kind of keep the pulse on your family, however hard that is, and really recognizing that this is a hard thing to do.
It is. That's right.
So
Great
like,
parent.
yeah, making sure that we are trying to find some time that it might be like coming together with our partners or with our support group or with our family to decide like, okay, what's going on? Or like just generally like, what sucks today? What sucks this week?
Right.
And let's have an open conversation about it. If it is that like, I don't like that you said this to me, or that I had to do this chore when it was this other person's chore to do, that made me mad. Yeah. Okay. Let's honor that. Let's take that into account and move and make some plans.
Absolutely. Move over to the next slide.
So learning from home can be difficult. Times may be difficult, but parents hold that key role in supporting and making sure the family is safe and healthy. So learning from home is a very difficult thing for a lot of our families. Zoom links don't work. Zoom goes down all on the West Coast or on the East Coast, wherever you're at, and we can't connect. Or we have so much buffering because of low internet speeds, because of whatever's happening with everything, that we can't. Our technology might not be the same as someone else's technology, which means that we just need to find a different way to kind of analyze and keep a hold of this. So learning from home is difficult, but our parents really make it so that it doesn't, we're all learning through this. Our teachers, majority of them did not know how to do anything virtual up until 4 months ago. So learning this whole new system is a learning process for everyone. And if we can do some quick reframes of like, hey, it's just not working, email your teacher, or it's not working, I'm going to call, I'm going to send a text, I'm going to do this because it's not working. Or like, I'm just going to have to disengage. Sometimes taking a mental health day is the most important thing that we can do. Taking a day for just the family is one of the most important things that we can do to just make sure that we as people are okay. Because if we as people aren't okay, if we are not filling up our cup in that way, we can't give to work, we can't give to school, we can't give to anybody else.
Absolutely. And since this is something that we, you know, our parents are dealing with right now with the remote learning, a lot of our parents, what would you say to, or what would be your advice to a parent that, you know, their child is just having a hard time, not necessarily, you know, maybe not with the learning piece so much, but with just missing their friends. You know, they're seeing their friends on the screen, but, you know, just having that connection with their friends in the classroom, they're just having a hard time with that piece of it. What's your advice to a parent to help their child through that?
So sometimes creating a virtual play date with like a virtual game, if it is like, hey, we're going to play Uno online with like FaceTime on so that we can talk. That might be something that's helpful. It might be something that's helpful to plan a play date or plan a picnic at the park with the other friend. Make sure that we keep distance and we're still able to talk, or we might be able to write letters, send pictures.
Those are awesome tips.
Mm-hmm. But knowing that, like, this is something that's going on for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And typically we have, or at least a lot of people in this time have developed kind of their core group of friends or people who are around them that they know, hey, I know where you go. I know that we can be safe around each other and that we are doing what we need to do. And just being keyed into that group, or being keyed into even with like, what is it, Xbox or PlayStation, on those games that have that audio content to it. Right. On the Wii, be able to talk over that.
Yeah.
Being able to have some of those connections.
Have those connections, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if we still need some help with big emotions, you can always contact my office. We are providing therapy virtually and then some in the office. However, our play therapy office is out of commission for right now because we want to make sure everyone stays safe. We are doing teleplay therapy, which is just kind of like a little virtual hangout, and we play games and we talk through some big feelings and we do art projects. But yes, this is our phone number, how you can reach us. We have some programs that are getting started this month and next month, so please give us a call. We have some groups that are bilingual, English and Spanish. We have a group for parents that's completely free, which is Fortaleciendo la Familia. And we are hoping to get started up some more parent support groups in English as well as our Project Them groups for adults and for teens, and our mentorship program for adolescents and young adults.
This is wonderful, Amanda. Your agency serves the whole age range.
Yeah, we serve everybody.
That is
because
wonderful.
Everybody needs help. Everyone plays a part in the family. So even if we have a 5-year-old, that 5-year-old is being affected by that 16-year-old who's at home, who is struggling. Yeah. No one is in a silo. Health is not just physical health, it's mental health as well. And if everyone is physically and mentally happy and healthy, then the whole family is going to be able to thrive.
Right. Absolutely. We certainly appreciate your time today, for all of the wonderful tips. And I love the topics that you covered here: Zoom fatigue, why mental health matters, pandemic stress, cabin fever. You covered the whole nine. went through everything that everybody is going through in such a wonderful amount of time, just to share that, you know, all of us are experiencing big emotions, but we can get through this together. And the family is such a wonderful resource just in your own home, your own family, you know, and in how we can help be strong for one another. But we are glad to know that there are resources out there to help us to move through these changes, and your wonderful organization is one of them. And so we appreciate your time. And just for everyone, any of our viewers, you see how to contact Amanda through her website. and through her phone number, 676-4078. So we hope you will get in contact with her. And again, we appreciate your time that you shared with us and those other ways that folks can connect through your different programming as well. So we really appreciate that.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, everyone stay strong, wash your hands, keep on your mask.
That's exactly right. And we want to mention too that we did record today's session.
Perfect.
And so any viewers that want to, Amanda, what is your YouTube? How can people find you on YouTube?
Just search Sunrise-Amanecer Services. That is our handle for all of our platforms. We're on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we're on YouTube. We are like putting together some guided meditations to be able to help people in English and in Spanish.
Wonderful.
And some other tips and tricks for the community.
That is wonderful. And also the partnership, we are in the process of developing our YouTube page. And so starting with this recording, it will be up there. So this is a big historic day. This will be our first video that will be featured on our YouTube page as we start to build that as well. And so we appreciate you sharing that. And we're just so glad again to have you. We hope all of you will join us back again next week as we have a conversation with the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. We'll actually have the Guilford County staff that handle that program, as well as parents as teachers, Guilford County. So we hope you'll join us next week. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much, Amanda.